The US-China tech war has entered an entirely new phase, and this time, India and Europe are right in the blast zone. For years, Washington tried to slow China down by blocking access to advanced chips, citing national security, military risks, and strategic dominance. The logic was simple: deny your rival the most powerful technology. But China changed the battlefield. In 2025, Beijing began tightening exports of rare earths, germanium, and other critical minerals, materials most people never think about, but the world cannot function without. Because without these materials, nothing works. No smartphones, no electric vehicles, no defense systems, no clean energy. As we enter the new year, the tech war isn't about who has better chips anymore. It's about who controls the materials that make modern civilization possible. And that raises a critical question: what's in store for 2026? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Let's rewind a bit. Back in 2017, Donald Trump's first term changed everything. For 40 years, the West believed engaging with China would make it more democratic. Spoiler alert, that didn't happen. Instead, China militarized islands in the South China Sea. President Xi Jinping removed term limits, essentially making himself leader for life. The People's Liberation Army, or PLA, got stronger and stronger. So America pivoted. Strategic competition became the new game. Trump banned tech sales to Huawei. Biden went even further. He blocked exports of advanced AI chips, memory chips, and the machines that make semiconductors. The goal was simple: maintain the largest possible technological lead over China. Europe joined in too. The Netherlands stopped ASML from selling its most advanced lithography machines to China. These machines are essential for making cutting-edge chips. But here's where things get interesting. Throughout 2025, China started restricting exports of rare earths and other critical materials, not just to America, to almost everyone. Production lines around the world started stuttering. Factories couldn't get the materials they needed. And suddenly, Trump changed his tune. He lowered tariffs. He allowed NVIDIA to sell its H20 chips to China again. Some tech restrictions were rolled back. Why? Because China's mineral blockade was hurting American industries badly. Beijing kept the pressure just right, not enough to trigger an all-out response, but enough to cause serious pain. They dangled promises of rare earth dialogues and special licenses, keeping everyone hoping things would improve. Here's what makes this so dangerous. US restrictions mainly blocked China from making cutting-edge technology, advanced AI chips, the most powerful systems. China can still get simpler chips for everyday products. Their economy keeps running, but China's material restrictions, they can cripple entire industries everywhere across the world. Not just high-tech sectors, everything. It's the difference between losing access to a sports car versus losing access to roads entirely. And China's arsenal keeps growing. They dominate manufacturing of basic semiconductors now, chemicals, industrial components. 40 years of industrial policy built this. You can't reverse that overnight. So what does this mean for the world? The GS countries, US, UK, Germany, France, Italy, Canada, and Japan, still control over 60% of global GDP. That's massive economic power. But they're not coordinated. Everyone's trying to cut individual deals with China. Trump imposed tariffs on everyone, not just China. That undermined partnerships needed to counter Beijing. Unity was the West's biggest advantage. That's fracturing. Meanwhile, China is playing a patient game. Apply pressure, release a bit, apply again. Keep everyone off balance. And it's working. No country has triggered an all-out diversification strategy yet. Let's get specific about what's at stake. ASML, the Dutch company, makes machines that produce 90% of all semiconductors globally. Yes, 90%. Their extreme ultraviolet lithography machines are unique. Nobody else can make them. China desperately wants them. The Netherlands have blocked sales since 2019. Under US pressure, they also restricted simpler versions in 2023. Here's the power move. These restrictions can include servicing and spare parts, meaning China's existing semiconductor production could be taken offline. At least until Chinese companies figure out how to operate these complex machines without help. This is where Europe has real leverage. But are they using it effectively? The EU ISS report we're analyzing suggests three main actions. First, serious reindustrialization. Europe needs to rebuild manufacturing capacity, not just mining rare earths, processing them, making chemicals, producing foundational semiconductors, create alternatives to Chinese supply chains. Second, manage American transactionalism. That's a fancy way of saying stop America from selling out European interests while making deals with China. European semiconductor companies need the Chinese market to stay competitive. If America blocks their sales while allowing its own, that is a problem. Third, economic deterrence. Europe needs to be ready to restrict China's access to its technologies and markets when its interests are violated. Right now, China doesn't fear European economic retaliation. That needs to change. Now let's talk about where India stands in all of this. India has rare earth reserves too. Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Tamil Nadu. We've got deposits, but mining and processing, that's where we're way behind China. The irony? America imposed higher tariffs on India than on China during this period, even though India is supposed to be a key partner in reducing dependence on China. But there's opportunity here. As countries desperately search for alternatives to Chinese supply, India can step up. We're already talking to Japan about joint projects. Our defense budget is rising. We can invest in processing facilities. The bigger question, can we move fast enough? China took 40 years to build this dominance. We need to compress that timeline dramatically. And here's something crucial. India needs these materials too, for our own manufacturing, our own defense systems, our renewable energy push. Being part of the solution means we're also securing our own future. That's the smart play. But what are the opportunities here? Japan is ahead of us in critical mineral technology. They've got advanced projects. We should secure joint investments and purchase agreements, leverage our relationship, learn from their experience, build capacity together. Our defense budget is increasing significantly. We can use that to overcome China's choke points, fund dual-use research, build manufacturing capacity that serves both civilian and military needs. We are already a pharmacy to the world. We can become a critical mineral processor to the world too. The demand is there. Countries are desperate to reduce dependence on China, but we need policies that actually fund this transition, not just announcements. Real money, real infrastructure, real timelines. But let's be honest about the challenges. China spent decades building this dominance. They subsidized industries. They accepted losses. They played the long game. Are we ready for that level of commitment? Environmental regulations matter. Mining has impacts. We need sustainable approaches that communities accept. And we're competing with everyone. Australia is boosting rare earth production. African nations are entering the game. America is frantically building domestic capacity. Simply having deposits isn't enough. Processing is the real bottleneck. That requires technology, skilled workers, continuous investment. Our government launched the Critical Minerals Mission, but execution is everything. And here's a reality check. We are also dependent on Chinese supply right now. Our manufacturers need these materials. Our transition has to be managed carefully. Europe is in an even trickier spot. They face threats from two sides. First, America is making deals with China that benefit US companies while keeping legal tools to block European exports. Trump literally tried to charge Nvidia a 15% fee for selling chips to China, then upped it to 25% for more advanced ones. America is monetizing the tech war. Meanwhile, European companies follow American restrictions whether Brussels likes it or not. Remember when Europe tried protecting its oil companies from US sanctions on Iran? Total failure. CEOs were more scared of American prisons than European regulations. The second threat is bigger though: China's mineral stranglehold. European industries are grinding to a halt. Healthcare systems need these materials. So do energy grids. So does manufacturing. And Beijing has made its message clear. Protest about Taiwan? Complain about unfair trade? Watch your supply chain suffer. Why should regular people care about rare earths and germanium? We'll tell you why. Your smartphone has 17 different rare earth elements. Every single one is critical. Without them, no phone. Electric vehicles need even more. The motors, the batteries, all depend on these materials. Wind turbines use rare earth magnets. Solar panels need them. The entire green energy transition relies on steady supply. Medical equipment, MRI machines, defense systems, they all need these materials. So when China restricts supply, it's not just about geopolitics. It affects product availability, prices, your daily life. And it determines whether countries can actually transition to clean energy or maintain national security. Semiconductors are called the new oil for good reason. They're in everything. Cars today have more computing power than the Apollo spacecraft that went to the moon. But making advanced chips requires thousands of steps, hundreds of specialized materials, ultra-precise machinery. China wants self-sufficiency. They're investing hundreds of billions, making progress on mature chips. But cutting-edge chips, the 3 nanometer and 2 nanometer technologies, they're still far behind. That's where American and European restrictions bite hardest. China's military modernization depends on access to these advanced chips. So Beijing weaponized what it controls. If we can't get your chips, you won't get our minerals. This is economic warfare, not with tanks or missiles, with supply chains and export licenses. Both sides justify their actions as national security. Both use licensing requirements. Both have military end-use bans. But there's an asymmetry. America tech restrictions slow China's progress in cutting-edge fields. Chinese material restrictions can halt production everywhere on everything. The impact is broader, more immediate, and Beijing's strategy is clever. They're not cutting off supply completely, just reducing it, creating uncertainty. Companies can't plan, governments scramble, everyone's stressed, but nobody's stressed enough to completely break away. It's economic coercion with a smile. So where's this heading? 3 scenarios seem possible. Scenario 1. Great power bargaining. US and China cut deals, they manage competition, Europe and others adapt. Scenario 2. Fragmenting supply chains. The world splits into blocks. American sphere, Chinese sphere. Reduced efficiency but more security. Scenario 3. Escalation. Restrictions tighten, retaliation increases, economic warfare intensifies. Right now, we are seeing elements of all 3. Trump wants deals with China, Europe wants independent supply chains, hawks in Washington want maximum pressure. For India, any scenario requires the same response. Build domestic capacity, diversify partnerships, reduce dependencies. But speed matters. Windows of opportunity don't stay open forever. Here's the bottom line. The tech war isn't really about technology anymore. It's about who controls the materials that make modern civilization possible, who processes them, who sets the terms. For decades, efficiency ruled. Make things wherever they're cheapest. Concentrate production. Maximize profits. Now security matters more. Countries want resilient supply chains, even if they're more expensive. This transition will be expensive, disruptive, time-consuming. But it's happening whether we like it or not. China's 2025 export restrictions made that crystal clear. The question isn't whether countries will diversify, it's how fast and who will lead the new supply chains. India has a real shot at being a major player. We have reserves, we have technical talent, we have growing markets. What we need is execution, sustained commitment, strategic patience, because this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, and we're just at the starting line. The tech war has evolved. Materials are the new battlefield, and everyone's scrambling to avoid checkmate. The minerals nobody talks about, that's actually what runs the world today. Thank you for watching Statecraft.